east of England and some running into the far northeast of Scotland as well. But otherwise, plenty of fine weather, and it's set to stay pretty settled through the first half of the coming week. Lots of sunshine by day, but some cold nights.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
It's Saturday night and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Kai Wilshaw, along with Will Kingston, James Price, Connie Shaw and Trey Lowe. Tonight on the show.
I didn't think I was going to have such a visceral reaction today, seeing all those English people.
Why have English people upset this bloke?
Send it backwards, there we go. Let's pop that down there.
Whose head was that went for a bounce around Westminster earlier this week?
And don't forget to get your questions in for Ask the Five.
And we'll be crossing over to Washington, D.C. to catch up with Bev Turner after a big week with Donald Trump.
Plus, what on earth is going on here? Yes, it's 8 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5 Extra. Yes, welcome to the Saturday 5 Extra. We've got a jam-packed hour ahead of us. And of course, we want to know your views as well. Send your views and post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/your say. We've had lots of claims. Alex, Will, all sorts saying that they read out the most. I think I've been giving them a run for their money.
That's true.
Don't forget to get your questions in for Ask the Five. Almost no topics are off limits. But before we start tearing each other apart, it's your Saturday Night News with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you. 1 minute past 8 in the GB Newsroom. Heathrow is among a number of major European airports to have been hit by a suspected cyber attack. Passengers at a crowded Terminal 4 reported multi-hour delays and long queues after the company behind the software used for check-in and boarding said it had been targeted late on Friday night. Terminal 5, though, was unaffected. Brussels and Berlin-Brandenburg airports were among the worst to be hit. The incident is the latest in a series that's affected UK airports since the beginning of the year. A British couple detained by the Taliban for nearly 8 months have arrived back in the UK. Peter and Barbie Reynolds, who lived in Afghanistan for almost 2 decades, flew to Doha yesterday for medical checks before travelling to Heathrow today. They were released following mediation efforts led by Qatar. The Taliban claimed they broke Afghan laws, but has never disclosed a reason for their detention. The leader of the Liberal Democrats has criticised Reform UK and has accused Nigel Farage of not being a patriot as the party's conference got underway earlier in Bournemouth. Sir Ed Davey says the Lib Dems are the most united party in Westminster by a country mile. He insists he's serious, though, after some of his MPs are reportedly concerned about the stunts he pulled during the election campaign. He says the Lib Dems are the only party standing up for British values.
Britain has been a fantastic country and we should be really proud of it. I hear from people like Nigel Farage, he talks down our country. He goes to the United States and says we're like North Korea. How insulting is that? He doesn't love our country. He wants to make us like Trump America. He thinks Vladimir Putin is the world leader he admires the most. I'm sorry, British people don't want Donald Trump here. They don't want someone who's a friend of Vladimir Putin.
At least 3 people have been killed in Ukraine and dozens more injured after a large-scale aerial attack by Russia. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says Moscow launched 40 missiles and nearly 600 drones at residential areas across the country. Polish and Allied aircraft were deployed as a result of the attack to ensure the safety of Polish airspace. It follows an incursion into Estonian airspace by Russian warplanes on Friday, which Moscow claims was a scheduled flight. NATO has confirmed that plans to begin work on strengthening its eastern flank will begin soon. Finally, England have beaten France 35-17 to reach the final of the Rugby World Cup. Fullback Ellie Kildunn celebrated her return to the side after missing the quarter-finals through concussion by scoring 2 of England's 5 tries, as the hosts survived a scare to set up a World Cup final against Canada at Twickenham. It extends England's world record-winning run to 32 matches. And those are your headlines. I'll be back with more at 9.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5 Extra. It's now time for this. It is about time for you to have your say and Ask the Five. But first of all, I just wanted to say, welcome back, Connie. I haven't seen you for a while. I think I was on your first ever appearance on this show. How does it feel to be back?
Yeah, very cool. Very good.
Fantastic.
Especially as I'm sat in this chair, which feels very strange.
Yeah, the presenter's chair. You'll get a taste for it now.
Yeah. Be careful if you looked at what's in your water, because Alex Armstrong is
he's always waiting in the wings.
He isn't he just?
Well, as I said, it's time to have your say and Ask the Five. Let's get our first question in, and this is from Craig.
Hi, it's Craig Shepherd from St Albans. Just seeing on the news today that there's been a cyber attack on European airspace and loads of delays out Heathrow Airport. But are we becoming too reliant on electronic systems?
So are we getting too reliant in this country and all across the world on sort of digital systems? This is in relation to cyber attacks affecting UK airports today. I mean, it does seem like, I mean, we had some comments on this about digital IDs as well. It does seem that we are very reliant on our phones, very reliant on digital systems to get about in our day-to-day lives. Is that the case, Will?
I think so, but it's kind of, we're at the point, what's the alternative now, really? You know, if we were to lose, you know, the current digital infrastructure we have, we'd be, you know, up the creek without a paddle. But yeah, it is worrying. It absolutely is worrying how fragile our digital infrastructure is, particularly when you think about cyber threats and terrorism and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there are many who are saying that the answer to this is to build your own sort of sovereign tech ecosystem here in the UK. Europe are doing the same. You know, cybersecurity is one area of focus for that. I mean, James, you have quite some experience advising secretaries of state on exactly this type of matter. Is there increased focus going to be in the next few years on developing that in-house capacity in the UK?
I think we have no idea how scary and dangerous the world is going to get at this point. You know, you're a few years away from Elon Musk perfecting humanoid robots. What's that going to do to the face of warfare? Look at the way that drone technology itself has just moved on in the last few years of the war in Ukraine. And how quickly will it be before someone flies a drone? It could be a high-tech, super advanced one, or more likely, one that you can just buy from a shop with a bit of explosive or something on it into a music festival, something terrifying like that, that is going to shatter all of our illusions that we're safe in any way. I think this future is very, very scary. Not to ruin everyone's Saturday night if we don't get much more serious on this. And yet, what are we doing? We're having stupid arguments about things that should have been settled many years ago when the future is coming right at us.
Well,
drink up.
I think there's even scarier prospects up ahead for the UK, and that's the topic of this next question from David. Let's take a look at this.
Good afternoon, panel. It's David from Watford. I'd love to see what the panel think of Jeremy Corbyn and Sultana falling out, spectacularly falling out, over the launch of their new party. Do you actually think it'll actually happen? Or will Corbyn and his 5 cohorts stand in the wings, booing and hissing and throwing little tantrums at everything Labour and obviously the Conservatives are doing? Thank you.
Yeah, so we're talking about the your party or our party or the left party. It doesn't seem like they can quite decide what they're even called, let alone set the whole thing up. Trey, you're pretty much an opponent of extreme political parties in all their forms. What do you make of Corbyn's latest project?
I think it's quite sad, actually. It seems to be imploding a little bit. You know, the party's over before it's even begun.
The world's smallest violin playing just for them, mate.
I think if we're going to have a lot of sort of surges to the right, then there should be an equal sort of surge to left in terms of people's choices. Because there are a lot of Labour voters who feel like Labour doesn't represent them anymore. And it's such a shame that they couldn't get their act together for long to actually give people an alternative to what they feel are major parties that are all pretty much in the centre nowadays. You know, it is a shame.
Yeah, Connie, as the only female representative on this panel, you are in a similar position to what Zara Sultana says she's in. She says she's been pushed out by men who like the sound of their own voice.
Perhaps, though I wouldn't go so far to say that you're all a sexist boys club. No, it was very amusing, and I frankly am not very sad. Although it's great news for Zach Polanski and the Greens, I think. But what did terrify me, and does still terrify me about the prospect of a party like your party, is the sectarian aspect to it all. I think we need to be far more aware as to the dangers that is coming with this sort of single-ticket Gaza issue, that the Independent Alliance has basically gone over to your party. We need to be far more vigilant about these things. I think it's arguably... We're getting to the point now where it might be too late to stop this sort of thing from happening.
I think it's a great point. But you mentioned Zach Polanski and the Green Party. Well, Zach Polanski, who's the leader of the Greens, his deputy leader is a man who thinks that the Houthis are actually just upholding international law, who bullied a rabbi so terribly that him and his family had to go into hiding, and has said all kinds of other horrendous things as well. So these guys are infiltrating all of these different mad, extreme left-wing parties, and I hope it just fractures them all so much that the right gets to win at the next election.
Connie, you used to support the Greens in your misguided youth, didn't you?
I actually didn't. Do you know what's so
Even
funny
I
is that at
didn't.
school I would be called Tory scum because I was a Tory at school, and now I get called wet for being a Tory. So it's like it's switched.
Do you think they are actually they could be the Greens? I think this, fruit and nut kind of nonsense is done. But do you think the Greens actually could be a legitimate threat to Labor in terms of taking a serious chunk out of their vote?
Yes, I think so, because Labour has on many issues shifted to the right. They were doing things that even the last Conservative government weren't going anywhere near, publishing crime stats for ethnicities and nationalities of people who commit certain crimes. I mean, that's quite insane for a Labour government. So, yeah, I think it will be taking people away because both people on the centre, right and left are fed up with the uni party. They want another option. What will be interesting, again, will be how long it takes for this progressiveness to break away from the social conservatism of the large Islamic vote that these people are going for.
Yep.
Right, well, we'll move on to the next question, I think, but, I mean, Labour is in a bit of a pickle, isn't it? Our next question...
Delightfully understated, Kai.
I try my best. I mean, our next question is from Susan.
Hi there. My little dogs are ex-breeding full pedigrees that I had from a rescue centre, and bringing them into the family has been incredibly rewarding, and they are my pride and joy. Buying from a breeder, you are obviously more or less guaranteed the traits of the specific dog. So if you were to consider getting a family pet, a dog, what would be your main deciding factor between adopting from a rescue or buying from a breeder? Thank you.
Well, I never had dogs growing up, so all of this is a bit of reading the tea leaves for me. Would you be adopting a dog from a rescue shelter, or would you be buying a dog? I mean, we see this all the time, don't we? Instagram influencers buying specific breeds of dog rather than trying to look after those that have been thrown away by families who can't afford them.
I mean, I think it's a wonderful thing to try and do this, but I'd be a hypocrite to not admit that I got myself a pure breed English Cocker Spaniel back at home, even worse, I called him Tennyson, which is probably the most embarrassing thing. Because he does, with the ears, he looks exactly like the poet Alfred Lord Tennyson. I hope he's still watching at home and is embarrassed that I've talked about the dog on the telly right now.
You're not helping the Tory stereotypes, James.
That's a cool name, Tennyson. I think for me, living in London and we spoke about this earlier, isn't it? Living in a flat in London, you kind of want a dog that's going to behave itself. And I think sometimes you think if you're going to get a rescue dog, it could have some sort of behavioural issues. And I think if you've got a lot of land in a country, you can probably take a chance. But when you're in central London, I would probably go for a dog that I've got literally
I think it's the best argument.
Like a train.
Yeah, the best argument of trying to beat the housing crisis. If people got bigger houses, they could have bigger and more dogs. I think that would be a great vote winner.
Connie, I can see you with a dog. Ever fancied it?
We did have dogs, we did, but then we had to rehome them because we just weren't the right family. But then they had a much better family to go to, but they were puppies. But we just weren't able to, because you talk about being able to have a well-behaved dog.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to train dogs, then even if you have them as puppies, and we hadn't had dogs before.
Yeah, we've had that debate, haven't we, with American XL bullies, which obviously now have to be muzzled. Will, what do you're looking at me like I said something completely outrageous. Shall we move on to a couple of the emails that we've got from people? I quite like this one. I think we'll have some strong views on the panel for this. Scarlett Evans asks, do you think it's time to bring back morning assembly in schools and sing the national anthem every day? I mean, the last time I heard the national anthem was at the Reform Conference. I was a bit of an interloper. James, you sighed in excitement almost there.
Yeah, absolutely right. This is a superb idea. But Mrs. Price is American, and every day she would have to get up and make the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States and kind of recite it. And occasionally when she nods off, I can sort of hear her still sort of saying it, mumbling in her sleep. But it does mean that Americans are much more patriotic than we are in Britain. I think it'd be a wonderful thing to have some of that. And, of course, the old hymns that you got to sing in morning assemblies are absolute bangers. I think we should definitely bring that back.
Shine, Jesus, shine.
What a
Absolute
tune.
classic.
Absolutely.
Jerusalem for me.
I agree with that. I think we should have at least a national anthem. We were talking about it, isn't it? Because I think there's this fracture between what is English or Britishness, you know, and how some people have actually sort of captured what it means. And I think if kids could grow up singing the national anthem, there'll be pride in it. But also, all kids get that. They were all contributing to what put the great in Great Britain, and I think that's been lost.
It's such a great anthem as well. I think the Australian anthem is very bland to the point of being, you know, a bit dour to sing, but when you belt out God Save the King, it is a brilliant anthem.
It is. So, the American one's a bit better, though. Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah, but
a bit cooler.
But we're the bad guys in it, right? Which is always sadly tricky.
Yeah, fair play.
This is another one. Let's take a look at... So Peter Scarborough is asking, we've sort of touched on this a little bit already. Are the Reform Party the only party that can break the two-party system? What I want to ask is, you know, we've talked about the Greens, we've talked about Reform. Are the Lib Dems, given their conference is on at the minute, are the Lib Dems going to be making a comeback? Could they be the kingmakers? Will, what do you make of this?
There is a world in which Reform wins government and the Lib Dems are the opposition. I don't think it's the most likely scenario. And by the way, it would be incredibly funny because the Lib Dems just, you know, don't really believe anything other than just saying kind of silly, nice-sounding things, and, you know, Middle England will kind of go along with it because, you know, they don't have to deal with the effects of multiculturalism and mass migration and all the terrible things that are going on in the major cities. So that'll be enough for them to get a big bulk of the vote. And with the way that Labor's going, I can definitely see that happening.
Well, we'll leave that there. I think the Lib Dems have come in for a pasting there, but before we move on, it is time for the Great British Giveaway, and there's still plenty of time for you to become our biggest winner to date. Driving away with a brand new 4-berth motorhome and banking £30,000 in tax-free cash. Not bad. Prize package worth over £104,000. Here's all the details you need for a chance to make it yours.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
It is very tempting, isn't it? No more worrying about where you're going next.
What a prize.
Going in the motorhome. Anyway, up next, GB News presenter Bev Turner is going to be joining us live from Washington, D.C. Very exciting. We'll be catching up with her about her big week with President Donald Trump. Don't go anywhere.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts Monday night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Are you panicking when you're in Northern Ireland when you go out and about because there is a lack of chargers?
Well, listen, I'm really pro-EV, and we've had the odd issue with broken EV chargers, particularly yesterday at both Ballymoney at Beasties and also over at Dunsily. We had issues with chargers, but the charging infrastructure is used very rarely. My mother, for example, she has overnight charging at home. She's never used a public charger, and she's had the car for 3 years.
Yeah.
So if you've got that domestic overnight charging, it's cheap. cheap, it's very affordable if you buy a 2-year-old EV, and they are absolutely the way forward. I'm a Yorkshireman. I don't like parting with my brass. I want to get cheap motoring, and for less than a penny a mile and a car for less than 20 grand to start with, you know, it sounds a bit blasé saying £20,000, but relative to what these cars are new, they're incredible value for money, and we're seeing mass adoption. There's a garage in Richmond in North Yorkshire that sells more than half of the cars they sell are electric vehicles, and that's in a rural Dales area. So it's about having that domestic overnight charging and not having to rely on public infrastructure.
Danny, where it doesn't convince me at all is, right, so I'm living in London and I want to go to see Manchester United, and I might get there, but am I going to get back down again? Or worse still, if I'm not on full charge, I'm going to miss kickoff because I'm going to have to rely on a public charger somewhere. So is that the sort of anxiety? I mean, you were talking about range anxiety there, Ellie. Is that the sort of anxiety people have? I mean, I genuinely have that. Despite what we were hearing there from Fraser.
GB News, the People's Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. Thank you very much for your messages so far. I did get one saying that I look a bit out of it, a bit spaced out. Not tonight. I think it's just all the excitement of the debut has got me going.
Did you look great? You look handsome. You look amazing.
Thank you. You can stay. So, I mean, this week we did see some incredible scenes, didn't we, with Donald Trump visiting for a second state visit to the United Kingdom. Some are saying, and I would say this actually, that Sir Keir Starmer's made a bit of a triumph of it. But let's head to Washington, D.C. now. And after a huge week of UK-US relations, President Trump was here in Windsor. Pomp and pageantry on full display. But the big star of the week was...
Mr. President, do you want to call some of the...
I would love to call a few of them. Bev, do you want to have a question?
Yes. GB News' very own Bev Turner, the first journalist President Trump called on at Thursday's press conference. And it was on board Air Force One back to DC, where Bev secured this scoop from President Trump, who revealed his thoughts on Sadiq Khan.
Events in England, a state visit, spectacular, and yet the Mayor of London can't be there.
I didn't want him there. I asked that he not be there. I don't want them. I think the Mayor of London, Khan, is among the worst mayors in the world, and we have some bad ones.
Well, yes. Preach. It's incredible, isn't it? Joining us now, of course, is GB News presenter Bev Turner, live from Washington, D.C. Thanks so much for joining us, Bev. Can you just paint a picture of what this crazy week has been like for you and the GB News team?
Well, actually, I've written a whole article which is on the GB News membership site as well, so you can log on and sign up to us and have a look at that if you want to. But just in a nutshell, it was kind of crazy. It's intense. This huge machine is working when Donald Trump flies around the world. He has a very loyal team who are incredibly fond of him, actually. That's what strikes me every time I'm with the team from the White House, is how well liked he is by the people who work for him. It's a very slick operation. You're looking at the pictures here. As the press team, we get moved around in Chinook helicopter quite a lot of the time, which is an unbelievable assault on the senses. It is the sounds and the heat and the noise. It's just an amazing experience, and all the journalists kind of sit there with our fingers crossed, hoping that we're going to get safely, even if it's just sort of 10, 15-minute journeys. So that's how they travel across the country. So I think this was us going from Windsor Castle to Chequers. That's right. And you've seen the pictures here. This was the banquet on the first evening when we arrived. Obviously, there was nothing that they didn't offer to Donald Trump on this occasion. Like he got the red carpet and some.
And Donald Trump loves all of this. He adores this pomp and ceremony, and he adores King Charles. That's what struck me, is he's such an Anglophile. He wants this country to do well. He has nothing in common politically with Sir Keir Starmer. That is apparent. The longer time I spend here in America, I realise how different we are politically to the UK here in America at the moment. But nevertheless, he loves the royal family. He makes no apologies for that. And this is soft power in action, isn't it, Kai? This is where all of the kind of the flirting happens before they get down to business and talk about trade, etc., which is then what happened in Chequers. So we had the day in Windsor, and then we had the day in Chequers, and then it was straight back on the aeroplane to come back to Washington.
It's incredible, really, isn't it? I mean, just after the last week, many people have been saying, geopolitically, this is a bit of a triumph for Keir Starmer, just when he needed it, and just after that scandal with Peter Mandelson. What's the feeling over there in Washington, D.C. about where this leaves the special relationship?
I mean, when you say lots of people are saying it was a triumph for Keir Starmer, not lots of people I was talking to. But having said that, in Chequers, there were the great and good from the business community. There's no doubt about it. All the usual players are there. You've got the head of GlaxoSmithKline. You have the head of all sorts of massive tech companies. It's the usual key players that we want investment from. I think what happens with the Trump administration is they don't really spend a lot of time reflecting on whether Keir Starmer did any good in that press conference. They're very much focused on America first. All they are concerned about is whether this country is benefiting from what happened. Having said that, as Donald Trump said to me on the plane on the way home, I really want Great Britain to do well. He really does want this country to succeed, which is, as I say, remarkable given that he has nothing in common politically with Keir Starmer at all in any area.
Bev, just to follow up on that, I'm fascinated by this dynamic between Trump and Starmer because they are such different personalities. There is a narrative amongst some in the media that says they somehow have like a good relationship. I saw Alison Pearson tweet the other day that she has it on good authority that basically Trump thinks he's weak and uses him. In the time that you spent around both of them this week, did you get an insight into that relationship and how did you evaluate it?
Every time I've posed a question to Donald Trump to which the answer could be not entirely complimentary, let's say, to the Prime Minister, he doesn't say that. He's always positive about Keir Starmer. And I've given him lots of opportunities, on and off the record, to criticise him, and he never does. He just says he's a very nice man. He says he's a good negotiator. I like him, he's a very nice man. However, I think you can read into the fact that he chose me to ask that first question as a sort of anti-Starmer weapon, let's say, maybe. Simply because of how the conversation went when we were in Scotland just a couple of months ago. Because when I met Donald Trump the first time on that occasion, and I got the chance to ask lots of questions because it was a Donald Trump press conference, so there is no time limit. He will just sit there and chat to the media, completely unedited, completely uncensored, and he'll just say what he thinks. And on that occasion, I was clearly able to land some blows on Starmer over immigration and the farmers' inheritance tax. And so Trump is not stupid, and he's surrounded by a team who knows social media very well. He knew that I managed to, kind of, I don't want to say criticise Keir Starmer, that wasn't my job as a journalist, but I certainly managed to expose some of his weaknesses, let's say. And so when he turned to me as a member of the British press on that day, when really it was his chance to ask the American press, you can read into that perhaps he knew that maybe I would ask something that might put Starmer on the ropes a little bit, which I kind of did in the end, because he did sort of stumble over the Christian question and didn't answer it satisfactorily, in my opinion, at all.
Well, Bev, thank you so much for that. It's fascinating. I know we can expect a lot more. Can you tell us a bit about what to expect from The Late Show Live?
Yep, The Late Show Live starts here in Washington, D.C. It's going to be on Monday. It's going to be midnight in the UK, so we will come on after Patrick or Alex Armstrong, so please stay up late. I know it's late, but we will do our very best to give people reasons to stay awake from 12 till 2 a.m. And on Monday, we've got a few surprises for you. We've got some really good guests. We've got Ben Leo right now, who's down in Arizona, in Phoenix. He's going to be doing some stuff on the border there and how they managed to control it. And Ben, is going to be at Charlie Kirk's funeral tomorrow, which is a massive event here in the US. I can't really describe how huge that occasion is going to be, and particularly for the White House. They've taken 2 planes from the White House of people who all knew Charlie Kirk personally, not just people who just want to be there and kind of bask in the drama. These are people who cared about Charlie Kirk, really cared about his family. So we'll be doing a bit of that on Monday as well, and we're going to be on every night, 7 nights a week, midnight till 2 a.m., which is 7 till 9 p.m. prime time here in America. And we really do want people to stay up late and watch us. So, and we'll be able to talk to me in all the usual ways. GBNews.com/you'll-say from Monday.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. That was Bev Turner glorying in the DC sunlight. And here's a look at what you'd expect from The Late Show Live on Monday.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts Monday night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Well, as an US politics nerd, I'll be watching. Still to come tonight.
Send it backwards. There we go. Let's pop that down there.
Did you catch whose face was on the giant inflatable ball? Eagle-eyed viewers, we will be talking about that as we deliver more triggered tantrums your way. But next, it's High Five, where we take you through the most uplifting stories of the week, including President Trump showing GB News some love. Find out more after the break.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
After a beautiful first half of the month for southern Europe, it now changes, with Western Europe turning unsettled, heavy rain and thunderstorms turning up, but we keep the dry and warm weather across Greece into Cyprus, as well as Italy. In fact, Italy is likely to turn hotter over the next few days, but you can see the band of rain and thunderstorms moving into parts of France, as well as northern parts of Spain and Portugal. Cooler winds blow here as well, with a drop in temperatures compared with the last few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Sunday should be a brighter day for many of us. There will be some heavy blustery showers in places and it will feel quite a bit colder. But before we get there, we have got an area of low pressure that will bring some potentially disruptive amounts of rain and also some strong winds through Saturday evening, and then it turns much colder as we go through the day on Sunday with blustery showers. But back to Saturday evening, and it's northern England and perhaps North Wales that will see the focus of the wet weather, so some particularly heavy rain, travel disruption and some flooding perhaps on the roads in places, and some very strong winds for a time as well, clearing their way eastwards into the North Sea by the end of the night, but Lincolnshire and Norfolk could see some severe gales for a time. Quite a cool night to come, with temperatures dropping down into single figures in Scotland and perhaps even low enough for a touch of frost in places. But it will actually be northern parts of Scotland where it stays windier, so here some fairly frequent showers through the night and those lasting through much of Sunday too. Some hail, some thunder and some gusty winds associated with those showers too, and even a little bit of snow up over the highest ground. Showery also for Northern Ireland, the showers running down the Irish Sea into West Wales, Devon and Cornwall, some heavy showers potentially here. Inland areas though starting Sunday on a mostly dry note with some sunshine, and it will generally be a much drier, brighter but colder day to come on Sunday compared to on Saturday. Showers for some coastal regions exposed to that northerly breeze, and it will be windy for some northern areas in particular, gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour perhaps across the Northern Isles of Scotland, and feeling cold here. Generally a cooler day to come wherever you are, with temperatures widely below average, highs of 16 or 17 in the far south. For Monday, a cold and in places frosty start to the day, but otherwise a much drier, sunnier day to come. Plenty of blue skies, just a few showers in the very far southeast of England and some running into the far northeast of Scotland as well. But otherwise, plenty of fine weather, and it's set to stay pretty settled through the first half of the coming week. Lots of sunshine by day, but some cold nights.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Yes, welcome back to the Saturday 5 Extra. I always forget that bit. It's now time that our favourite time, this is actually my favourite time of the show, to discuss our favourite moments from the past week. Some good news. Now, Will, what good news do you have for us?
I want to extend on that conversation that we just had with Bev. It is easy to forget that GBNews is still a young media organisation, and then to see Bev over the last week have the ear of the President of the United States, to be called out first out of all of the media pack from the United States and the United Kingdom. It was a remarkable moment. I would say it was a watershed moment in UK media. So my high five is simply, I'm incredibly proud of this organisation and the strides that it has made and the strides it will continue to make in the United States is really quite unprecedented in the modern media landscape.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm just looking at the comments from viewers. A lot of love for both Bev and, of course, Ben Leo. Ekdeep is saying, love you, Bev and Ben. Good luck in your new show in the USA. I think there's a lot of love. It's quite impressive, isn't it?
It is. It is. And look, and Bev is exactly right, that the decisions that the United States makes have an impact on the United Kingdom. The cultural impacts flow down to the United Kingdom. It's very important we cover this.
And then Donald Trump also reposted on Truth Social, his social media platform, has reposted GB News as well, hasn't he?
Yes, that's right as well. And this is just another example of how obviously GB News has the ear of the President of the United States. It is a ringing endorsement of the channel.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, James, just a slight switch. What do you have for us? What caught your eye?
Well, I think this is going to be the biggest news maybe of all time. I'm not underplaying this, but this came out of the US trip as well, where the American Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, a great man, a great patriot, said you don't need to worry about climate change. All of this stuff of Greta having to poo in that bucket on her boat, none of this stuff you need to worry about at all, because AI and all these wonderful technological advances will help scientists crack nuclear fusion, not just fission, but fusion, and that will give us the ability to harness basically the power that fuels the sun itself. It will give us unlimited, clean, free, cheap, amazing energy, and then imagine the kind of things we can do. We can take over the galaxy with it. Everything will be wonderful, and you don't have to worry about climate change ever again.
Well, you talk about harnessing the energy of the sun. We can already do that, can't we? But no, that is exciting stuff, isn't it? I mean, it's important for us to remember that there are still frontiers in science yet to be crossed. Plenty more.
Way more than we've ever come up with. I think this is unbelievably exciting. Imagine what happens in America already. Their economy is so much bigger than ours, and one of the major reasons for that is energy is so much cheaper there. It's much cheaper in France than it is in Britain, because they've got loads of nuclear power stations doing nuclear fission. Imagine the kind of stuff we could power. We could invent the robot armies to save us from China. All the amazing things we can come up with when we have that.
I think we need to get back down to earth. Connie, what do you have for us?
I see what you did.
Common sense.
I see what you did there, Kai. So it seems like some firefighters got to take part in a sort of it's almost like a movie, a rite of passage, where they actually got to save a cat from falling off a building that it was scaling. Have a look at this.
Yeah, well, let's have a look.
Well done.
Goodness me.
I mean, it's a bit silly of the cat and selfish to be wasting taxpayers' time on that sort of thing. But I don't. How long was it? They said they wasted no time at all and to get the rescue equipment to save the cat, but the cat can't have been up there for that long. I don't know. Like, would you call 999 if you saw a cat?
But
I don't know if I would.
Yeah,
a lot of people would.
This used to be the stereotype, wasn't it?
You know the worst thing, right? That cat, as soon as it lands, it will just shrug it off. It won't be grateful. It will just kind of wander off with its bum in the air, not caring at all.
I have to say, I've had two cats. I've had two cats jump from the highest of heights. One broke one of his legs and tried to leg it when I came to try and save him. And then the other one actually did all right. I must say, cats' 9 lives are really, really true. Had they not come, that cat would probably still have survived.
Goodness me. Yeah. Well, do you have something that matches Connie's?
Well, mine's kind of carrying on from, obviously, Trump's visit here, and I'm going to change it a little bit, because I'm going to actually pose a question to you guys, right? I think we can all agree that Keir Starmer had an absolutely incredible and successful visit. We can all agree that, right? Well, I'm going to pose you guys 2 questions, right? Number 1 is, why do you think that he can't translate sort of his foreign affairs in terms of the success of it to domestic policy, number 1? And do you think any of the mainstream political party leaders could have done better than him?
Look, I think there has been a problem with communications, and there's been an over-reliance on international relations to try and save Keir Starmer's presidency. Prime Ministership, I agree. I think we could be talking about that for the whole hour, but unfortunately, I'm going to steal the limelight from you, Trey. And what we have a picture as well. We believe that we've discovered the earliest portrait of someone from Wales. No, it's not a picture of me many, many years ago. It's in fact from the Roman Legion Museum, which is part of the National Museum of Wales collection of sites. This is in Caerleon, and the curator of Roman history, Mark Lewis, on a recent excavation on the site, found what is believed to be an enslaved Welshman that the Romans found when they invaded Britain. We can tell by the sort of long hair and the fact that his hands are held behind his back. So this could be quite seismic, and it will be going on display in Caerleon very, very soon. It's quite exciting, isn't it?
It's almost as good as what I think is the world's most prehistoric and old poo that was discovered. It's in a museum in Gloucester, just across the Welsh border.
Well, I'm leaving it there, I think. Up next.
I didn't think I was going to have such a visceral reaction today, seeing all those English people.
They're always going at it, aren't they? Find out what's triggered this guy as we reveal the last batch of our triggered tantrums. You won't want to miss them.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5 Extra. It's now time for the last of our triggered tantrums, Sadie. So, Connie, what have you got for us?
So this is a young chap who's been reduced to tears, decided to film himself crying out of anger at the English people who've gone to a town they don't even live in. He's referring to their capital city, London, to protest in.
Let's take a look, shall we?
I didn't think I was going to have such a visceral reaction today, seeing all those English people coming out, like, onto streets that they don't even live in. Like, they've all travelled into the city to protest against the people that live here. And I'm just so angry. They're drinking and they're wearing the flag and honestly, they're embarrassing themselves, and they're showing like up England so bad.
I just don't know how long it's going to take for these sorts of people to realise that the floodgates have opened. They can't, if they think that they're upset and they're pleading for people to be nice. People have had enough, and people do not care about the slander that they will continue to get on this issue. And I really don't understand, like you were saying just a moment ago, Kai, how someone can see hundreds of thousands of people and really believe that each and every one of them is a bad person, that none of them could possibly be people who just want to be proud of their country again, who want to restore what we once knew to be British values. You know, most people in this country, you listen to people like James O'Brien and he'll try and trip up his caller and he'll be like, OK, what are British values then? And he doesn't realise that he's proving his own point, that the fact that a caller can't even tell him he can't even name what British values are. Why isn't that enough for him to be concerned about the state of this country?
They're just so soft as well, aren't they? They're your type, Kai. They're just so wet and soft.
We were getting on so well when we... Look, I mean, I'm going to move us on hastily to Trey. Trey, what's your trigger tantrum?
So my triggered tantrum is my favourite waitress and an absolute meltdown that she has about some of the patrons that come into her place of work. Let's roll the video.
Literally, what the has happened to basic manners? Where did they go? More and more lately, have I noticed less people saying please and thank you? Like, I'm sorry, were we raised in a barn? Are your parents two big fat pigs rolling around in the mud? This lady today, I literally was setting down the appetizer for her and her husband, poor guy. I'm setting it down. Before the dish even touches the table, she reaches in and grabs a handful and shoves it in her mouth. Are you that fucking hungry that you need to shove your dirty little hands into the appetizer before it can even reach the table?
Well, apologies for any swearing that you may have heard there. Our producers were given quite a tough task.
That was a hard one. Yeah, that was a difficult one. But what she's basically saying is what happened to manners. There are a lot of people that work in hospitality where people almost just see them as these just invisible people that they don't have to treat with any courtesy. And she is truly, truly wound up. But like I say, I was a DJ for so many years, and a lot of people in hospitality don't get any thanks for what they do. So I understand. I understand.
It's a DJ hospitality.
No, we weren't, but we're working alongside the barman, the barbacks, all of these people. Us DJs always get put on a pedestal, but my God, the people serving did.
Likely story. I did get a little whisper in my ear from James saying, I think I dated her.
Oh, my goodness me. And what do we have next? It is this scene from a recent protest. Why don't we take a look and try to figure out who's on these bouncy balls?
This is not how I envisaged this going. Try and keep it away from the cameras, people. Send it backwards. There we go. Let's pop that down there. But we don't want it. We don't want JD Vance. That's right. That's absolutely correct.
Yes, if you didn't guess already, that was JD Vance's face printed on those bouncy balls. But as we speak, there is a 24-hour printer in Liverpool somewhere furiously trying to print new ones for Ed Davey for the end of Lib Dem conference. I can imagine that, actually, can't you?
Not only that, though, they'll be printing them in America for Vance's presidential run. He's going to lean into that, and people are going to be knocking them around at Vance concerts all over the place in 2028.
This is the thing, I do feel we are in that era, aren't we? You know, you see Elon Musk when he had his brief foray into US politics, you know, going on stage with chainsaws and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's all a bit made for TV, isn't it? Well, that's all we have time for tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to debut on this show. Thanks to our guests. Thank you, our lovely audience, for joining in the fun tonight. Thank you very much to the whole panel. And I think we've got another familiar face to go to, Alex Armstrong tonight.
Great job, Guy. Sterling show. Well, let me tell you, we have a massive show lined up for you tonight. Who else do you think's jumping the queue in our NHS? Because it might not be your children who get seen before Gazan children. We'll be digging into that at the top of the show, including also, are you getting benefits for being a working age man? You might be one of the millions. We've also got Orwellian nightmares coming straight after the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Sunday should be a brighter day for many of us. There will be some heavy blustery showers in places and it will feel quite a bit colder. But before we get there, we have got an area of low pressure that will bring some potentially disruptive amounts of rain and also some strong winds through Saturday evening, and then it turns much colder as we go through the day on Sunday with blustery showers. But back to Saturday evening, and it's northern England and perhaps North Wales that will see the focus of the wet weather, so some particularly heavy rain, travel disruption and some flooding perhaps on the roads in places, and some very strong winds for a time as well, clearing their way eastwards into the North Sea by the end of the night, but Lincolnshire and Norfolk could see some severe gales for a time. Quite a cool night to come, with temperatures dropping down into single figures in Scotland and perhaps even low enough for a touch of frost in places. But it will actually be northern parts of Scotland where it stays windier, so here some fairly frequent showers through the night and those lasting through much of Sunday too. Some hail, some thunder and some gusty winds associated with those showers too, and even a little bit of snow up over the highest ground. Showery also for Northern Ireland, the showers running down the Irish Sea into West Wales, Devon and Cornwall, some heavy showers potentially here. Inland areas, though, starting Sunday on a mostly dry note with some sunshine, and it will generally be a much drier, brighter but colder day to come on Sunday compared to on Saturday. Showers for some coastal regions exposed to that northerly breeze, and it will be windy for some northern areas in particular, gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour perhaps across the Northern Isles of Scotland, and feeling cold here. Generally a cooler day to come wherever you are, with temperatures widely below average, highs of 16 or 17 in the far south. For Monday, a cold and in places frosty start to the day, but otherwise a much drier, sunnier day to come. Plenty of blue skies, just a few showers in the very far southeast of England and some running into the far northeast of Scotland as well. But otherwise, plenty of fine weather, and it's set to stay pretty settled through the first half of the coming week. Lots of sunshine by day, but some cold nights.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690.